Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 106 for Tuesday, the 18th of January 2022. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag PisnID, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
I brought a friend with me today. It's Nick Fights.
I'm Nick's friend, Big Macca.
And I don't have any. It's Sensei Switch.
How are we all doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
Yeah, really good.
Good. So,
Thank you for having me.
I was going to say, we have a new voice this week, Big Macca, and if he does well, we might even get him back on again in the future. No pressure. No, it's really nice to have another voice on the show, to be honest, Macca. To be honest, I have been looking for some new voices for quite a while. People seem to be quite shy. I don't know why. We're a very friendly bunch of people. We only take the piss a little bit. But no, it's very nice to have you on. So let me get this right. You were originally a fan of Nikki's Twitch streams, and then you found us through Nikki.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, so I started watching Nick last year. I started streaming and got to know Nick through streaming, started watching his streams, he watched mine, we got to build a relationship. And then obviously you like to get involved with your friends' other hobbies, and
Yep.
he loves a podcast, so I've started watching I started watching you guys on a Sunday after my stream, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the content because I'm a 38-year-old geek that loves video games, so...
Well, we're a very similar age then, so that's all good.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question, though?
Fire away.
What drew you to Nikki's Twitch stream? I mean, I've watched it, man. He's very entertaining. But how did you find him? I'm always intrigued because one of these things about Twitch is the smaller streamers, it's quite hard to nail them down, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
So how did you find Nikki? And what kept you watching him? Because I like to pimp out his Twitch on here every so often.
Well, without going into a big long story, because I could talk for hours. By the way, I'm a salesman in my day job, so I could talk for hours. So I started streaming start of lockdown. I met a guy called Cybernator who lived up the road from me via a Discord server, and he was already friends with Nick on Twitch. And when you get to know someone on Twitch and they raid people's channels, you go into their channels after a raid and you get to know them, and Nick's just a nice bloke. There's very few honest, nice people on Twitch, I find. Well, a lot of them, a lot of people are a bit, I don't know, but Nick is very genuine, and that's kind of what. You do know that we're giving him a massive head right now. His head is...
Well, he already has a big head anyway, but...
you met me in real life, so you actually know my head is quite big. So,
yeah. Not as big as your gut, though.
The thing is, right...
I'll call the kettle black there, Macca.
Hey, I mean, to me, Twitch is a funny place, right? I'm still not really... I admit I'm not really massively into Twitch. I never have been. I've never really understood it to the full extent. I mean, this podcast has been going for almost 14 years now. We've only been live streaming on Twitch for about a year or so. And I never really found I wanted to watch a lot of Twitch because I'd rather game myself than watch other people play games. But when I do venture onto it, I always notice that the top streamers are either dudes who play the same game all the time, like Dr. Disrespect before he got banned, or women with their tits half hanging out. What is that draw with Twitch, do you find? I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't watch any big streamers.
Yeah.
I don't watch this the likes of Disrespect or Nick Merckx or any professional Call of Duty player. I don't watch any big streamers. I don't watch any of those sort of streamers. I like to watch, and basically the people that I watch have become friends.
Oh,
that's the way I look at it. I don't, if I start watching someone, it's generally because I've got an interest in them, their personality, and they come across very well. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I understand. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I don't watch big streamers because why do I want to watch someone play Call of Duty when I could play it myself?
Yeah. So yeah.
I like Twitch because of the social aspect of it. So, you know, like I say, I hang out in Nick's streams. I could be sitting there playing my Xbox or PlayStation or whatever in the background while having him on. But it's for me, it's the social side of it because you've got to know these people, and these people have become friends, and it's the only real way that you can not communicate, but it's a good way of communicating. That's my point on Twitch. That's what I do Twitch for. Because otherwise, I'm like you. I'd rather play the game than watch someone play it. So.
Okay, no, that's an interesting take on it. It's something I haven't really thought about, to be honest. I think, you know, as someone that, you know, I've been doing this podcast for a long time and we've experimented in a lot of different avenues. You know, we started off with a website and a forum that was quite popular, and then obviously website forums died. It moved on to social media, you know, like Facebook groups and Twitter, etc. And then, you know, in the last few years, Discord's been a really great tool, I think, for communicating with the community and setting up gamer nights and stuff when people actually fucking turn up. I really thought of Twitch as another avenue for that kind of social discourse. I think that's quite a refreshing outlook, to be honest.
Well, I started streaming, not like, you know, not with the idea of becoming the next Dr. Disrespect or making thousands. I just wanted people to play video games with.
Yeah.
That's it. Fair. That is it. I just wanted to meet people that, like me, enjoyed sitting there playing video games that I could essentially add on PSN, Xbox Live or Steam or whatever and just jump in and play some games.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's it. Because, you know, real life in real life friends kind of all have gone, really. Video games have not their priority in life. They're too busy working 90-hour weeks to pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
They don't have time to play video games. So for me, it was like, I started streaming it's the best place to meet people to game with, really, Twitch.
Fair enough. That's interesting.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, really, myself. But that's an interesting perspective. Because obviously, by hanging out with people for a while, you understand what they're like and whether you'd get on with them as well. Because obviously, you jump in games these days, no one's really in game chat. They're all in party chats. And when you do get in games with people, you get a right mixed bag, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, me and Nick were talking the other day. There's me, Nick, Cyber and Bear, with like the four of us. We're all going to go back up to Nick, so I'm going to take about 3 or 4 arcade sticks with me. Take my PS4 Pro with all of my fighting games on, and we're literally just going to sit with Nick's, just playing old school fighting games on arcade sticks, like the good old fashioned days. Do you know what I mean?
Nice. Wicked.
I wouldn't be able to do that unless I was on Twitch, because none of my old mates in real life, or none of my mates in real life, enjoy playing fighting games.
Yeah.
So it's a great.
I think it all depends
outlet.
on the generation. I think a lot of people that are from an older generation, I've noticed, all like fighting games, because obviously a lot of the biggest games of the time, before you had your Resident Evils and stuff, was your Street Fighters and your Mortal Kombats, etc.
100%. I'll agree. Yeah. My first memory of gaming, really, like in the arcades, were Street Fighter 2 when it first released. It was on Southend Pier. There was a brand new Street Fighter 2 machine in there. It was like 1990, and it was like, I probably spent about 30 quid in that machine.
I remember going on one of them where I used to go on holiday in Hemsby in the old caravans, because that's what we were kind of like, and I had like a little arcade and then one of the Street Fighter 2s in there, and it was like 5p a credit, and that's like your dad gives you £1, and that would actually, you'd be off for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And you're just playing games on that. That's good old days now. I don't think they have proper arcades anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
Unless you go to one of these retro places, you know, like Arcade Club. They've got a few of those dotted around the country. I went to one a few years ago. That's one of the things that was amazing.
I did like about Japan was the fact that they still got, in certain locations, like good old-fashioned arcades, posters up everywhere and different floors for different types of game.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's like the arcade club. They've got like a retro, like a couple of retro floors. They've got like a modern floor. They've got like a VR area and all that sort of stuff. It's really cool.
Well, they still have tournaments in Japan on the arcades. They still have like Tekken tournaments and in-house like arcade tournaments and things like the good old days. I'd love to go. Absolutely love to go to Japan and experience that. But
I'd guarantee to everyone do it at least once.
I've just got to wait for the kids to get old enough so I can leave them at home.
Same
here. They'd probably enjoy it as well.
Yeah, but it cost me too much money. I took them with me.
That's the problem, isn't it? Once you've kids, you'd skint forever.
That's it, because you've always got to think there's always got to be work. If I buy that for myself, I've got to now triple that.
Yeah.
Because the oldest is going to want it and then the youngest is going to want it. So it's like, shit, yeah, I'm going to have to... Everything I pay for now, I've got to triple. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's mental. It makes me think of Colin, you know, you don't know Macca, but it's like one of our gaming mates lives in America. He's got 2 boys. And he's got a gaming room, so he's got 3 big TVs in there, 3 Xbox Series X's in there. So they can all game, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, so much money. And then obviously you can game share with one other system, but you still got to buy 2 copies of every game. You know, oh my God. Money, money, money. Crazy. Anyway, we need to get into like what we've been playing. So who wants to go first this week?
I'll go first.
And we going older, aren't we?
Nah, we'll mix things up, mate. It's fine. Macca, yeah, why don't you go first, mate, since you're the newbie?
He's the new boy. Let him go first.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I've only played like a handful of games, and they're going to be the proper end to end of the spectrum here. So I've never been a PC player, never been a PC gamer, keyboard and mouse, but I have recently been playing a lot of Tarkov.
Oh, man, after my own heart.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting into it. I had to buy a Razer Tartarus control pad thing though, because I physically can't use the keyboard because of my thumb that I told you earlier about shattering my thumb joint. It's so I've had to buy one of them, but I'm slowly getting there. It is a very interesting game. I tell you, I love the fact is that there's no hitboxes, and the bullet is on, like, you know, when you fire your gun, you're relying on, you've got to absolutely aim that perfect because there's no hitboxes to aim for.
It's one of those games I haven't played in absolutely ages, and I'll tell you why. I was playing it with a group of mates. One of my best mates, actually, I've known since I was like 14, and he's well into it. He plays it all the time, but it got to a point where they were taking it too serious for my liking. I mean, I like a serious game, but when it gets to the point where they're saying to me in the chat, right, stop talking, you know, I like to have a chit chat when I'm gaming. He's like, right, stop chatting. We're talking about just the game here. We need to do tactics, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, you're taking it to that other level where I can't do it. And the other thing is, like, with the game is, if you die, which I do a lot, and you're in a group with your mates, I mean, they could still be in the level for another half an hour or so, and you're sitting there just twiddling your thumbs. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, yeah, I know what you mean. I've completed a couple of raids very successfully, and you know, I've come out and, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself because it is a bit of an intensive, hard game. But yeah, I know what you mean. I was in a group last week and I ended up just leaving the chat and just playing something else because they were taking their time. I literally got sniped as soon as I spawned, and I was like, oh, right, I'm dead now. So it's like a 45-minute wait for them to finish this raid. It's like, oh, okay. Brilliant. But yeah, it's one of those games. I'm not going to put a lot of time into it because I don't want to make it my soul. I understand, you know, to be good at it, it's like golf. You've got to play it every day. That's not me.
I think the issue with it is, and you know, and it's not knocking the game at all because it is aimed at those super hardcore players. But it's one of those super realistic games. You need to, you buy your clips for your gun, but then you need to buy the bullets separately, and then, and it's one of those things. It's not like COD where you just reload your clip like after you've fired off a couple of shots. Like the bullets leave that clip, and then there's only like 6 bullets left in that clip, so you need to manage your ammo per clip, like in like you would in real life, right?
Yep.
And the other thing is, it can get very frustrating. Like if you've gone in a game with your really good gear, and then you get killed, you've lost all that gear, and that is really frustrating.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's why I had to buy that Razer Tartarus keypad thing, because the amount of combinations and macro keys that you can assign is unreal, and I physically can't. Like I say, I'm not a keyboard and mouse player. Like CS:GO is probably the closest I got to being like a keyboard and mouse player, which is when you break it down, it's quite a simple first person game, but it's a difficult game, but I'm enjoying it. But it's not going to be. I'm not committing to it yet. I'm not going to be one of these hardcore Tarkov fans. I just want to have a little bit of fun with it, see what it's like, maybe play it up to the next wipe. And I got it on a deal anyway. CD keys. It cost me £15, so
Nice, mate. Nice.
So other than that, I've been playing a lot of old school fighters this week. I've been playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
These games played are sounding very similar to Nikki's games from last week.
It said we get on and we like each other's games. What did you expect?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, mainly on Fightcade, as well as sort of Dreamcast emulation.
Explain to us what Fightcade is for those of us who have no clue what you're on about.
So Fightcade is like a free website. You sign up to it. It doesn't cost anything. You install it onto your PC. You also install an extension now as of the 20th of October last year, where now it finds the games for you. Is the best way of putting that, and it allows you to play these old school games. They've got like 8,000 channels on there. A lot of them are duplicated, but they will have like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or the first Marvel vs. Capcom, Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, Dead or Alive. They have all of these games, and they're accessible to play online with other people.
Oh, nice.
Dependent on your, I think it's all based on rollback as well.
Okay, so explain to me what rollback is as well, because I was looking at like this. I don't know what this is. Top of my head, I was on Steam last week while we were talking about fighting games, and I think there was what fighting game were you talking about last week, Darren? That's coming out soon.
King of Fighters 15.
It might be in a King of Fighters game or Grand Blue, I think. Anyway, it was one of those.
There's an RPG one coming out from that, but there has been a Grand
Versus. Yeah. Good. So I was looking at the Steam page for Versus, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, add rollback," and and I was thinking, "What the fuck is this? Is it some kind of net code?"
It's a net code for a more stable connection, reduces lag and things like that. Because with fighting games, like you play them online, they're generally shit, so I don't bother.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting against lag as well as, like, obviously issues you might have with controllers or the joystick or whatever on top of that. So it's like an extra thing that can go wrong. And obviously a lot of the pro tournament people just can't stand the internet on a lot of games.
Yeah.
Like the net codes.
Okay.
Yeah, so rollback net code essentially, it's the system trying to predict your inputs, and if the system predicts your inputs correctly, the game is smooth. If it gets it wrong, it will roll it back, but like by hundreds of milliseconds. So you won't notice it, but it kind of rolls it back to allow the correct input to be to go through. That's essentially what rollback is. And what Fightcade has done is they've created this website, and they've got like, they've got some real classics on there.
Do you have to pay for this?
No, it's totally free.
So all the games are on there?
You just sign up, yeah.
Or do you have to buy the games separately on your PC and then it's just a service? Or is it...
You have to download a plugin for Fightcade, and then what happens is Fightcade will find you. Essentially, it's emulation, so it involves emulators, it involves ROM, but it's all built within the Fightcade system. So,
right.
And then basically, it's got like the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's got all the old classic games that some people, like my generation, your generation, I'm sure all four of us here have played that when it came out on the console.
Yeah.
But we're now 2022. There are people that would never have played that game on the original hardware or the original arcade machine. So it kind of gives people that online play for these games.
Yeah.
And really it allows people to experience it. So I've been playing a bit of that this week, as well as playing the actual games on emulation anyway. And yeah, I mean, I was sitting here I was saying to Nick earlier, I was sitting here for most of the day playing PlayStation 1 Street Fighter X Plus Alpha. Street Fighter 2 X Plus Alpha, sorry. Just because I do love playing old retro games. It's something that I enjoy doing. I've got an Xbox Series S, I've got a PlayStation 5, but I love playing old retro games because that's what I've always been into. So I've been playing a lot of that recently.
Awesome.
A bit of Killer Instinct as well.
Nice.
The new version, the newest version.
On the Xbox One launch version.
Yeah. And I actually, Nick and a few of the lads have been bullying me into play Shenmue. I haven't played Shenmue since Dreamcast, since I had it on the Dreamcast when I originally owned one, when it first came out. So I kind of I played that, and it's all right.
How far did you get on Shenmue?
Well, I played it for a good hour and 40 minutes, and then I got bored because I had to wait for the timer. I had to wait until 7 o'clock at night, and it was 10 in the morning. I was like, what can I do here, guys? Can I skip time? And they went, no, you've just got to wait. And I was like, well, this is boring. So
Shenmue's one of those games. I mean, I hold it in very high regard personally because I remember playing it on the Dreamcast back when it came out. So I think if you played a game back in the day, you can always replay it again because you know the game, you've been there and done that. But I do think if you've never played one of these older games before and then you try and play them now, it is a lot harder to get into them, if that makes sense. Because you're not invested. You've never been invested. Especially like a long RPG like this, it is a lot harder. I mean, even though they released the remasters a few years ago, obviously it's still that kind of Dreamcasty graphics. So, if you're a little bit of a graphics snob, then you may not enjoy it. And obviously the systems are very clunky compared to today's standards as well. But back in the day when Shenmue come out, I remember being blown away by it. I used to get the magazines and they'd be pimping it out saying, it's the most expensive game ever made and all this sort of stuff. And, it was, ahead of its time, really, if you think about it.
I was going to say that's probably one of the biggest games, like graphical leaps I think they've ever done.
Yeah.
Like 100%. PS1 to Dreamcast. And we all love Shenmue controls, don't we, Macca?
Oh yeah, Shenmue control should be a thing. I've now labelled it, guys, that every time I get screwed over because of bad control systems, that's it. It's called Shenmue controls. It all goes back to that. They are the worst controls I think ever put into any video game. They really were.
Ryu controls basically like a car, doesn't he?
It's very early analog.
It is, yeah.
Really? You didn't even use the analog to control him. You used the D-pad to steer left and right, and the trigger to walk. And the harder you press the trigger, the faster you walk. But like I said, I think how games have evolved over the years and accessibility options and stuff like that. Now everyone knows the left analog stick is to move, and the right analog stick is to adjust the camera. Obviously, back then, a lot of consoles, N64, Dreamcast, and that we didn't even have 2 analog sticks.
No,
the PS1 when it came out didn't have any analog sticks until
the DualShock come out. Yeah.
I think one of the first games that did that was it Ape Escape. It was one of the first ever games to force you to use analog controls, and pretty much everyone thought, "Oh, that's a good idea," and we've been doing it ever since.
Well, the fact is as well, the Dreamcast was a bit of a backwards console when you look at the control pad, because the Saturn had 8 buttons, but the Dreamcast only had 6.
But
the games were a lot more complex than the Sega Saturn games, so it was kind of like they went backwards a bit, and you can see that with like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because there was no medium button. It was there was light punch, light kick, hard punch, hard kick, then assist 1 and assist 2. To get the medium punch, you would have to double tap light punch or light kick.
Right.
To get the medium punch and the medium kick. So they said it was to make combos easier, but it's also because they only had 6 buttons and you needed an assist button. So for me, it was kind of like, and the whole analog system, well, Saturn did the analog. They had the analog pad, and that worked very well.
That
worked
really
very
horrible
well,
looking moon controller, like a big circle fat thing.
Yeah,
but it worked.
Yeah,
it worked. So, but yeah,
they
I mean,
bundled that with Nights into Dreams, didn't they?
Yeah, great game. But yeah, so a lot of my week has been spent playing retro games, and just like on arcade sticks and just chilling out, really.
Oh,
just reminiscing some of the old days.
Good times, man. It's a nice little bit of nostalgia is always good for the soul.
It's also because I'm pretty disappointed with it so far with the generations of consoles that they're releasing.
A few people do feel that way.
You know,
unfortunately.
I'm like you, Webby. I'm waiting on Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm waiting on at the moment. I've had a PlayStation 5 since August last year.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting, and I'm still waiting for Gran. There's no games on it that I want to play.
That's
that
fair.
I can't buy on the PlayStation 4. So it's
in that case, yeah. Well, you can buy GT on the PS4, can't you? But it's not going to be as good, I can imagine.
Yeah. No, and then I've just been chilling out, playing retro games, and just.
Cool. Is that it from you, Mako? Is that? That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's me. That's my week in gaming. That's it.
Good times indeed. So before we move on to Nikki, I just need to say, if you are not a Patreon subscriber, that is it for you for this week. If you want to listen to the rest of this week's show, please sign up to the Patreon over at patreon.com/360gamercast. From as little as £5 a month, you get a show every single week of the year, plus all the special episodes as well, like our awesome music special that we did a few months back, which is an astonishing 4.5 hours long. So sign up now, patreon.com/360gamercast, or another way to listen to the full shows is just to listen live. Head over to twitch.tv/Webby360G and you get to listen to the whole show live, and you get to join in the chat, say hello, ask questions and all that jazz. So those are your 2 options for this week's show. Next week's show will be obviously available to everyone because that's how we do it here. So that's it. So the rest of the show, we'll pass it over to Nikki for the Patreons.